plan to deregulate the banks that I've been warning about for a while now is finally here. Recently, the US announced its plans to ease capital rule, which limits banks' treasury trades. Because right now, banks have what some would consider to be very tight restrictions on how many US treasuries they can purchase. In other words, how much money they can loan to the US government. And now US bank regulators plan to reduce that key capital buffer by up to 1.5 percentage points for the biggest lenders. This rule is the enhanced supplementary leverage ratio, and it applies to banks like Chase, Goldman Sachs, and Morgan Stanley. It would take the requirement down from the current 5% to in between 3.5% and 4.5%. It would also reduce the requirements of the bank's subsidiaries to the same range, down from the current 6%. Now, changes like this are not unprecedented. We saw similar revisions back in 2018, and we saw drastic changes taking these requirements all the way down to 0% in 2020 and 2021. I'll talk about that more in just a moment, but the question is, why are they doing this now? Well, it's because the federal government currently owes $36 trillion in debt. And so far in fiscal year 2025, just the interest payments on the debt have accounted for 14% of all the money the US government has spent. In dollars, that has totaled $665 billion. And keep in mind, that is just the net interest, not the total interest payments on the debt. Total interest payments on the national debt are nearing $1.2 trillion annually. And considering that the federal government's total income from taxation was under $5 trillion in 2024, it means the US government is spending approximately 25% of every dollar it taxes from you just to pay interest on the debt.